Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Here's My Take for another great video. Before we get started, go ahead and like this video. And after we're finished here, please leave a comment. And if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe. What I'm going to be discussing today is an aspect of the AntiNet Zettelkasten system. One particular aspect of it that I have been working with, and I actually like it. Now, I don't want to repeat a lot of the things that Scott Scheper already says on his YouTube page, but I'm just going to give you some insights about my journey and some of the things that I have tested and tried, and what works for me, what doesn't work for me. You will hear Scott say that there are certain things you should be doing if you are a true anti-netter, and then there's some things that you should not be doing. Well, I might not be a true anti-netter completely. So this is what I mean by that. So I'm just going to give you an example. So I have been reading this big brick of a book here, Kissinger, right? And what Scott preaches really is, when you're reading, to be an effective reader, a lot of people, and I used to do this myself, but a lot of people will use what is called marginalia, which means that you're just kind of writing notes in the margins of the book. So you're kind of communicating with the author as if you're talking to the author. So you're writing notes in the margins, and you're highlighting insights that you see. Well, Scott says this. He says, and this is one point that I absolutely agree with, that um, marginalia is not a good practice if you're writing it directly in the book. Because think about it. How many times have you gone back and you picked a book up off the shelf and you flipped through it to see the notes that you wrote? I mean, most of us, once we're finished with a book, we put it on the shelf and we move on to the next book. Or how many of us go back and we extract the notes from the book and put it into a commonplace book or put it onto note cards? I don't think a lot of us do that. And so there is a practice in AntiNet Zettelkasten, which Scott got from the founder, I guess, of this, the progenitor, Nicholas Luhmann. And so what Nicholas Luhmann would do is he would have what is called bib notes or bibliography notes. Now, I'll show you one of my bib notes here for this book. Um, I'll show you this one, even though it's not complete. It's not complete. So when you're writing a bib note, at the top, you're going to write out the bibliography information. So that's the author, the title, the publisher, the place, the date it was written, so forth and so on, right? So that's the bibliography information. And then underneath that, you're going to write what your goal is for reading the book. Now, this is important because it focuses your mind on what you are intending to extract from the book. Because there's a lot of information that you can get out of the book, but what you want is that specific information that you are reading the book for. Maybe you're working on a project, and I find that it's best to have a project in mind as you're reading, so that you read with intention and you read with a purpose. And when you do that, you're not jotting down every note or insight that you see. Okay. So then after you do that, after you write on this side, and like I said, I didn't complete it. I just have the bibliography up here. Then the next thing that's supposed to be is the goal, and then the overview of the book. And the overview of the book, you'll write that down here, which is you just kind of flip through it, go through the table of contents, see what the table of contents says, and just kind of write out a brief overview of what the book is about. And this is a best practice from another book called How to Read a Book. And so that's what the author, Adler Mortimer, would suggest. So then once you do that, you'll flip your card over. So like this, horizontally, but then you'll flip it over vertically. And this is where you're going to write all of your observations. Okay. You're going to write observations. You're going to write keywords. So as you're reading, if you see maybe something that you want to excerpt, An excerpt is a direct quote from the book, and you might want to put that on a card. I don't want to go too deep into one step and two step, but I'll do that in another video. But maybe you want to remind yourself to write that note on a card. And so you'll put just a keyword here and you'll write the page number right next to it so that you know where to go back to. Now, the beauty of bib notes is that these observations, you're going to store it in your AntiNet Zettelkasten, which means that it's not siloed in a book on a shelf somewhere where you can't use or utilize the information. You have it easily accessible by going to your Zettelkasten, okay? And you can pull it out. So in the future, from a year from now, I can go, you know what? I read that book, Kissinger. Let me pull my card out to see what observations I made by reading that book. And I don't have to go and pull the book off the shelf, because all of my books, all of the books that I read, the bib notes are going to be in my Zettelkasten, okay, bib section. So right now I have 2 of these cards, these bib note cards, and you see some red in the corner there. This red here it indicates to me that I also have this in my we kind of use digital, we're not supposed to, right? But we do use digital, called Zotero. So Zotero is a platform that we use to archive our books, the books that we read, or not just books, but web pages, YouTube videos, and things like that. So then when I go to Zotero, there's going to be a tag on Zotero, and it's going to be b.kissinger, and that alerts me, or when I look at this alerts me to go and click on that tag, and then I know what that tag, that the resource that tag is associated with. All right, now here's one thing. I agree with all of that, all of what Scott says. One of the things that he also says is that you are not, along with not writing in the margins, he also says that you are not supposed to highlight. Now, you see some highlights here, right? I highlight, and the reason that I highlight is because when I write an observation on my bib card, like page 115, right? On page 115, I have it written, just a quick observation, power of perception. When I go to page 115 in my book, I don't want to have to search through all of the words on this book to find that observation. So I highlight it so that my eyes take me directly to that highlight. Because sometimes I'm not writing on my bib card literally what's on this page. I am going to reformulate it. I am going to write a reflection in my own words. And so I need to know exactly where on this page I got that. So Scott is going to tell you not to highlight. I personally highlight. It might slow me down a little bit. I don't care, because I don't have to go and search for the word on that page or for that thought on that page. Okay. So that's what I do. So that is the bib notes. And I just wanted to show y'all that real quick in this video. So bib notes, stop writing in the margins. Go ahead and get you some 4x6 index cards. On the front side of the index card, you're going to write the bibliography information. Underneath that, you're going to write what your goal is, your purpose for reading the book, and then an overview of the book. And then on the back side of it, you're going to write your observations and your keywords. And then in another video, I'll show you how to transfer your information from this card to a main, what we call a main card in your Zettelkasten. All right, folks. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment. All right.